Hello, everyone. My name is Meredith Taylor, and I'm the Community Relations Manager for City Current. Today, I'm joined by Mike Larrabee with the Compost Fairy to talk about the wonderful world of composting, as well as ways that we can be more sustainable during this time. So for those that are unfamiliar with just composting in general, can you tell me what composting is, as well as how the Compost Fairy got started?
Sure. Yeah. So I guess in lay terms, what we like to say is we recycle food waste. Yeah, composting, I mean, in Latin, compost means to bring together. So basically what we're bringing together is yard waste and food waste, actually anything that was once living, and turning it into a superpowered soil amendment. How did we get started? Gosh, Reader's Digest condensed version of that story. I grew up in a farm setting. We grew a lot of our own food. So like composting has always been a thing in my life. I moved back to Memphis from Europe in 2012, bought a house, and the first thing on the list of projects was to put a garden in. And I didn't want to buy dirt or soil because we make stuff that we can where I'm from. And I put out an ask in the neighborhood through the Nextdoor app of all things, and got a tremendous response when I asked people if they wanted to give me their kitchen scraps. We quickly outstripped that demand. I didn't want to discourage that sustainable practice, so we started a neighborhood program and started using that to, sort of help farmers to own their fertility and increase the organic matter in their pastures and their row crop stuff. And it quickly outgrew that. So we started a 501c3 in October 2017. We've had the market drop-offs since that time, and we rolled out collection services in March of 2018. So we just passed our 2-year mark and are now serving thousands of households in Memphis and businesses as well.
Tell me a little bit about how your services work. How do you guys operate?
So as far as like the we come and get it sort of collection services, that's open to every generation point in Memphis. Anybody that's making food waste is eligible to connect with us and partner. Lots and lots of residential. So basically you get a bucket from us and we come and pick up your food scraps and give you a squeaky clean brand new one every week, and then twice a year you get compost back from us. So basically it's the balance of whatever you would have created in your backyard without all the mess. And it's super efficient for us to do it at scale too. Businesses, we work with tons and tons of restaurants. We work really closely with the Clean Memphis program, Project Green Fork, that certifies sustainable businesses. Also big office parks, schools. We just started rolling out a commuter compost program and a apartment like multifamily program that we're really excited about, because that's, essentially 15 or 20 or more residences that we're getting in one stop, which, makes it even more affordable for folks to engage with us, and also keeps our carbon footprint super, super low.
And with so many restaurants having to temporarily close their doors, and so many offices, how have you guys had to adapt during this time to continue to meet the need?
Yeah, it's so the word pivot gets used a lot right now, for sure. And we were concerned about how this was going to impact our ability to serve Memphis when things started to get shut down. And obviously, lots of our restaurant partners had to pause service with us. If you're not generating a whole lot of food waste because you're not selling food, it's not reasonable to expect the Compost Fairy to be paid to pick up nothing. But we've had some troopers that have stuck with us. I'll give a shout out to City Silo and Camboli's and Central Barbecue. There's a bunch that are still rolling, and some folks are just starting to trickle back on now. But one thing that has happened that we've been able to help the community with during the pandemic is the pandemic panic garden, we like to call it over here. Lots of folks have just had a pretty jarring wake-up call about how fragile our supply line is, and food at any given time we may have 3 or 4 days worth of food in Memphis, which is kind of scary. Think about it, and that kind of resonated with lots of folks. Lots of first-time gardeners this year. Tons and tons of folks putting raised beds in where there used to be lawn, which we 100% endorse. We have innovated in the range of products that we have provided for home gardens. Before we were providing just straight compost, and we've started doing some soil blends for folks that need brand new material for new gardens this year, which is kind of an expansion for us that has been very well received and has been super beneficial for both us and the folks that are growing at home. And lots of growth in residential collections because folks are cooking at home so much now. They've become much more aware of how much food waste they're generating. And like that awareness is sort of well timed with our visibility. So the residential sector has grown significantly, which is great.
Well, I saw on your website there were a few national statistics, including the average U.S. household creates 1,600 pounds of compostable material per year, and also that the U.S. sends 25 million tons of food to landfills each year.
Those numbers are growing, unfortunately. The per capita stuff is fairly static, but the volume as our population increases is increasing every year. Those were 2017 numbers, I believe, and the 2020 estimates are somewhere in the low, 30 million tons.
Can you touch a little bit on the impact that you're making locally in Memphis? Do you have any statistics on that?
Yeah, so I think it will probably stay about the same this year. It's hard to tell with the commercial stuff and how things will go moving forward, but we're on track to divert about 12,000 yards of compostables from the landfill this year. As compared to 2 years ago, I think we were in the hundreds of yards, which is great news. We just entered a partnership with the Division of Solid Waste, City of Memphis. We'll be moving to a much larger facility and receiving the majority of the compostable waste that the city collects off the side of the road. So all the tree branches and down trees and leaves and stuff that get ground up will come to us instead of going to the landfill. And our market data indicates that is upwards of 200 yards of compostable waste a year just from the city. That doesn't count our commercial and residential collections. So in a community that sends about 1.7 million tons of waste to the landfill every year, we could very quickly divert up to a third of it from the landfill by practicing organics management with Compost Fairy.
Wow. So how can the community do their part? How can we help?
Oh gosh, yeah, tell your friends. I mean, we can't do this without the community being engaged. Like there is no Compost Fairy without our Compost Nation providing the raw materials that we need to make the compost in the first place. Yeah, I think just being aware of the impact of organics in the landfill, it's that conveyor belt sort of industrial mindset that we have that's not circular in economy is just not sustainable. And organics in nature, or organics at the Compost Fairy facility, break down aerobically in the presence of oxygen. That's a whole different profile of microorganisms, bacteria and fungi that act on those materials. In the landfill, they break down anaerobically, in that case causing tremendous amounts of methane to be produced. Methane, I'm not sure what the awareness is of that in terms of impact on the environment, but on the short time scale, it's 84 times as impactful as a greenhouse gas as the carbon that comes out of our tailpipe. That's on a 30-year scale, and at 100 years, it's still 30 times as impactful as that carbon monoxide. Crazy business. Yeah. So don't throw anything is better than a landfill. We support backyard composting if that's something that folks are excited about spending a couple hours a week on and dedicating a space in their backyard for it. But I mean, we want it all. We don't want any of it going to the landfill, and we're here to help.
Well, Mike, the last question's always the easiest. Where can we go to learn more?
Oh, yes. Compostfairy.com, our website. We're all over the socials. We've got a great marketing team that's out promoting the good work that we're doing. and lots of good partners doing that as well. But yeah, compostfairy.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. If you have questions about our services or about composting in general, we are a nonprofit and we are at your service. So info@compostfairy.com. We'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Well, thank you, Mike, for all that you do and for powering the good in our community.
Well, thank you so much. And thanks for supporting the folks that are doing the good work.